Hello and good evening, everyone. Happy Sonic Youth Appreciation Week right here on Secret Spins After Dark. And if you are tuned into this program right now, you are celebrating. I'll have you know. Hey, good evening, Mark. Nice to have you here. Chronological. These are chronological. I mean, what we're listening to tonight was released after where we left off. Where did we leave off? Last night, we checked out Bad Moon Rising, the second full-length album from the New York band Sonic Youth. And, let's see, that was 1985. So we're going to fast forward just a little bit. We're going to fast forward to the year 1997. Where we have Anagramma, the first release on the SYR imprint. Now, a few words about this. I mean, some stuff happened for Sonic Youth between 1985 and 1995. To say the least. I mean, Evil, Sister, Daydream Nation, Whitey Album, Goo, Dirty, Experimental Jet Set, Washing Machine. I mean, that is quite a run of studio albums. They were on top of the world. But I think the genesis of the SYR thing, series, we'll call it series, happened in 1995 when Sonic Youth released an album called Made in USA. And that was just a soundtrack that they had recorded like 10 years prior to that. So I don't know if the decision to release it at that particular point in time was like a contractual obligation thing. I wouldn't think so. Or maybe the label just thought, hey, Sonic Youth is riding high. Now is the time to put this out. But I think the band actually wanted to and had been fighting to for some time. So it came out and the band said, hey, you know, we want to start doing a little bit more of this, a little more free form, instrumental type stuff. And the label's like, yeah, you know, that soundtrack record we put out, you know, it didn't do so hot. They're like, well, we want to do it. And they're like, okay, compromise. You guys can have your own little vanity label where you can kind of mess around and do whatever you want. I mean, you have your own studio. That's not going to be a problem for you. You do it, you record it, we'll distribute it for you. And so that's what happened. They started SYR, Sonic Youth Recordings, which is just a series of... Well, I mean, really, what do we have here? We have an experimental New York noise rock band indulging all their, well, most self-indulgent tendencies, releasing albums completely in foreign languages. Even though the tracks themselves are instrumental, you gotta put it in a foreign language. Is there anything more pretentious in the history of indie rock? Like, here's the back cover. I'll give you a thing. Here's our address. That's it. So these are the 4 tracks that we're going to hear tonight. I thought it'd be longer, honestly, but this is what they decided to kick the series off with. It's a 4-track single LP, 45 RPM. And I find myself talking a lot more at the top of the show because this kind of counts as a mini spin. Other releases in the SYR series are, they got longer. I mean, by the 4th one, it got really long. But that'll be a spin for a different day, perhaps. But tonight, SYR1, Anagramma, by Sonic Youth. Let's see what spurred them to start their own separate record label for this. Hit it. No, that was not a box of silverware being dropped down the stairs. That was the epic conclusion of Anagramma, the first release on Sonic Youth Recordings. And a brief but noisy excursion. You know, 4 pieces of music that they thought were important enough to launch their own eponymous record label. That's all I'll say. You be the judge. And again, that amazing back cover. Like, it doesn't even line up. They're like seams. Anyway. Sonic Youth, was it bad? No, it wasn't bad. Can I see why Geffen was like, hey, well, they might have wanted to kept that one at arm's length. I get it. But in the end, hey, they got to release the record. We all got to hear it. Everybody's happy. And I guess that's everything we could hope for. Hey, what'd you think of the record? Pretty interesting. Is it like what they were doing on their, I guess, mainstream set of studio albums at the time? Not exactly. But as Mark mentioned, they had just set up their brand new fancy dancy recording studio. And are free to record reels and reels and reels and reels and reels of tape of whatever they wanted. Sean says, perhaps one of the issues the band faced later was a separation of their more avant-garde tendencies and the albums they were making as a full-time career. Just a thought. I have to agree 100% on that. By the mid-90s and the start of these SYR records, I mean, Sonic Youth basically kind of started leading a double life as a band. They were hanging out with all like the downtown artistes and wanting to make like drone records and stuff, but like they were still beholden to the alternative nation, so to speak. But no, I get exactly where you're coming from with that comment. The beginning of their third act. Well put. True. So where do we go from here? Well, we know Secret Spins will be back tomorrow night. Throwing it back for Throwback Thursday. We will resume Sonic Youth Appreciation Week on Friday. And if we're doing these, as mentioned, in chronological order, we're going to hear something from Sonic Youth's later days. Both spins should be interesting. Hope to have you here for either, each and or either of them. Yes. Want to shout out everybody in the chat. Mark Boyd, John Daga, miss you. Show on the Vinyl Dreams tape. Escape. Wyoming Dave. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Lurkers, I appreciate you too. And if for some reason you're catching this on the replay, I don't know, maybe you're not a night owl. Hope that you appreciated it. Let me know what you think of this turn in direction for the band Sonic Youth. All right, so that's going to conclude tonight's Secret Spin. I think I was just trying to go over it in my mind. I think I covered everything. Shorter spin than usual, but, we'll make up for that. Just saying. All right. That's it. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you very much.